Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Everyone else, can you guys talk just to kind of see? Um,
Hi.
Hi.
it looks like it's working. It just looks like uh, that we're having that one mic issue.
Yeah.
So you guys, does anybody want to start? What you guys know about um, Makerspace and how to get it going? Because I'm learning, so I want to hear what you guys have to share.
I came here to learn from you guys because I don't know that much about it. I've been doing a lot of reading about it, and I've actually made a space in our library so that we can do it next year, but I'm not really quite sure where to go from there.
I
So
just got to.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just got to attend Invent to Learn at ISTE with Gary Stager and Sylvia Martinez, and so I got to see a lot of really cool tools. What intrigued me here was the idea of on a shoestring because a lot of what they had was expensive, and I know it can be as simple as cardboard and tools and parts and pieces of pretty much anything, even old computers that you can leave for the kids. But I was curious to hear what were people thinking as far as shoestring budget.
Yeah. I read an article in Make Magazine, and it had suggestions for how much you should spend for a makerspace. One of them, like for an elementary school, they were saying like $11,000. So I am writing a proposal that I'm going to submit to the district to try to get that money. But in the meantime, I need to figure out what I could do, just to get started while I'm waiting for that money to come, if it ever does.
And then as far as getting it started, like, how would you go about doing that?
Well, I haven't. This summer we had, as kind of an experiment, is we had a one-week Makerspace summer camp, and what we got was we got Makey Makey. And we got 5 of those, and then we had the kids. You know, you would think that maybe that just wasn't enough for a group of kids, but it was so engaging that the kids didn't mind sharing it. So we would have like 5. We had 5 makey-makeys, and we probably had like 20 kids in a session. And we would have 4 kids sharing this, but they really loved it. And there wasn't that much instruction. The thing we had with the makey-makey was that they would take either Play-Doh or fruit or something else. They did something different every day. And they'd actually be playing a piano that was on the makey-makey site using this, whatever they were using at the time for a controller. And it really was fascinating to the kids, and we had all different age groups from about 6 up until about 12, and they all really enjoyed it. So you could do that. Makey-makey is about $25 a piece. You could probably do that very inexpensive.
There wasn't that much instruction.
You don't really need that much instruction. It comes with a little instruction manual. The person that was running it didn't have any instruction.
The thing we had would make with fruit or something, a piano that was on the makey-makey site using this, whatever they were using at the time for a controller. And it really was fascinating to the kids, and we had all different age groups from about 6 up to about 12, and they all really enjoyed it. So you could do that. Makey-makey is about $25 a piece. You could probably do that very inexpensive. There wasn't that much instruction. You don't really need that much instruction. It comes with a little instruction manual. The person that was running it didn't have any instruction. The thing we had would make with fruit or something.
Are you guys having problems hearing? I can't seem to hear anything. The sound just went off.
Okay, I'm going to try. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Okay, Anne, so I think we do seem to have some sound in here. So, Anne, what else are you looking at besides makey-makey?
What I'm really interested in getting is, well, there's a lot of different things I'm looking at. Do any of you get Make magazine?
No, but I'm hoping to get a subscription.
Yeah, if you get it, there's a lot of really great stuff that, as I said, isn't horrifically expensive. I mean, it's not dirt cheap either, but you can get these if you have, we ordered these interactive cards, and what you did is you have these little pieces of tape that have circuits in them, and the kids can design these really kind of amazing art projects using this tape with circuits. And Other things you can get are ink that conducts electricity, so that you can do art projects with this, drawing with this ink that conducts electricity and attach circuits to it so that the card lights up. They're not that expensive. I think you could get a set of 60 for about $100. So again, I think this is something, every child doesn't necessarily need to have their own. I think you could have it so that you could share. Kids could do projects together.
Right. They were talking about the pen you were talking about at the Invent to Learn conference, and they're supposed to be coming out with a better version of it soon. They said the current one's very gloppy and doesn't work as well as they'd like, and so there's a newer one coming out in the near future.
So are you talking about one of those 3D pens?
They were talking about the pens that when you draw on the paper, it makes it where you can create circuits with the ink of this pen.
Okay.
But they said there's supposed to be a better version coming out soon.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of getting some of those 3D pens, which are, they're not as good as a 3D printer. I mean, you don't get quite the same outcome, but again, it's something that's more kind of financially accessible than a 3D printer at this point.
Right, you're talking about the little, it looks like a little almost heat gun that kind of heats it out and puts it out. Okay,
yeah.
They were using those at ISTE. I am blessed. I just got a brand new 3D printer and just set it up this week, so I have that, but I want to bring in some of the other smaller pieces.
Yeah. Does anybody else have 3D printers? Because I was at an Edcamp where somebody was talking about one, and evidently you can have major problems maintaining them. In other words, the filament can get stuck in and you have to pull the whole thing apart, so it sounds like you'd have to be pretty adept, mechanically adept to be able to do that. Has anybody else had experiences with 3D printers?
Yeah, I actually just got one this past year, and I can attest to some of those issues.
Technology is defeating me. Did I mute it properly?
I had some.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure this thing out.
We can hear you. Is that Diana?
So what were your experiences with the 3D, with the 3D printer?
I got one, I think it was right at the end of March, and we've been kind of working with it. But some of the issues I've had is the same that you've heard, where, filament will get stuck and you kind of have to take it apart, and a lot of the how-tos, or I guess support for it all, are basically just how-tos on how to fix it yourself. So you kind of have to have some ability in kind of understanding these things. Like, I had to pull the whole motherboard apart on the 3D printer to fix one of the things that wasn't working on it. So, if you work with older kids, I think that could be something that they kind of dive into as part of the learning process. But for what we've had so far, there's been quite a few struggles. It's actually out of service right now because I'm trying to fix it. So.
Yeah, I heard that they're coming out with new generations of them that are supposed to be much, much better. They're not supposed to be, in other words, like this year, the person that was talking about it, and I wish I could remember her name, she had done a fantastic project where she had older kids, and what she had them do is they had to design a game. Well, they had to take a game that was already in existence. In this case, they took Angry Birds. And then they had to make it into something that a robot could do. And so then they built robots, and they programmed the robots to catch and throw. And then they took a 3D printer. They all designed characters with another program, and then they took a 3D printer and printed the 3D characters. So it sounded like something that was, obviously this was done over a long period of time, but it sounded like something that was really, really engaging, involved a lot of critical thinking, a lot of collaboration, everything you want kids to do. But she was the one that said that the 3D printer, she spent a lot of time pulling it apart and putting it together again. And I'm not that techie. I have ideas, but I'm not that good about, actually managing the technology. Although I do have a tech that I could, ask to do that kind of thing if I needed to.
Yeah, it's been a process, and I had some issues. I put it in the chat, but I have a MakerBot, and so I've gone through their support and some of the things that I've
Right.
had. Um, I'll email support and I won't hear anything for 4 weeks, so I got to call them, and and so I've ran into issues like that. But I've been able to fix most of the stuff, and I've had some other people that have dealt with 3D printers kind of help me along. So when it works, it's one of the coolest things that you could probably have in a classroom. It was asked. I teach this past year I taught 6th grade. I'm teaching 5th grade this year, changing schools. But we were in a 6th grade class, and the kids like ate it up. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, 6th grade. I taught 6th grade for 11 years. So I love 6th graders.
Jameson, what did you have your kids doing with yours when it was up and running?
So what we did this past year is because it was towards the end of the year, I had to kind of hobble together, and we got our 3D printer through Donors Choose, and
Oh,
so
great.
we had to do the whole thank you process and all that kind of thing, take pictures, and so what I had them do is they created thank yous, a way to say thank you with the 3D printer. So I got them in groups, and they designed it. They used a program. I'll type it in there. It's called Tinkercad. It's all
Yeah.
online, so you can use them with Chromebooks. And I've been in contact with the people that run Tinkercad, and they're working on an education process thing, because right now you can't have anyone under 13 sign up. And so that was kind of an issue. I had to create my own emails through class and that kind of thing to work through that issue. But they're working on an education platform for it. But it's completely free. And so I had them get into groups, and they kind of brainstormed how to say thank you with the 3D printer. And they created iPhone cases that said thank you on it. They created different characters, people shaking hands, just like little things. And through the process, it was really cool, because when we printed it, there would be mistakes, and so when it printed, it wouldn't work, not because of the printer, but because of their design, and so they'd have to go back to the drawing board, which is kind of a cool process to see. It'll be a lot more fun this year to kind of do that at the beginning of the year, to see what they do, and then see that kind of transition towards the end of the year.
What does everybody teach? Just out of curiosity.
This year I teach 5th grade, and I'm actually not sure at the subject if it's going to be a couple subjects, or I taught 6th grade math and science last year.
I have 4th through 8th grade in the computer lab, and I am the tech director for a private school, so I kind of have 2 full-time jobs.
I'm the principal of a K-5 elementary school.
Seventh ELA. So I'm how to make the makers in my class.
I teach 1st grade bilingual.
We have someone asking about 3D printers on Kickstarter. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
I don't know anything about that, but I know Donors Choose every single month. I think it's MakerBot gives away a free 3D printer on Donors Choose. So if you haven't, anybody that's interested, if you haven't applied, somebody's got to get it. so
There was
a good thing.
Sorry. There was another name.
Right?
They threw out the name. There was a group called the Harbor Foundation. I think they were out of Philadelphia, but maybe I'm wrong. They were at ISTE. They gave one away, and the guy next to me won it, and it was called a PrinterBot, PRNTRBOT. And it was a smaller, much less expensive one. That one seems to be one that's kind of known out there for a smaller, not as expensive. It's not so much the big professional-looking version like the MakerBots.
Right. We have a couple of
Yeah,
questions. Maybe you guys. How many? Oh, sorry.
No, there's a big variety. Like using Kickstarter, they've had some Kickstarter 3D printers. There was one going for like $300, I think it was.
Wow.
Which was a small desktop one that got funded. But like for teachers, it's probably better for us to use Donors Choose and avoid the whole like tax issues and that kind of thing. From what I've seen, at least.
We have a couple questions, if you guys don't mind. Has anyone read Invent to Learn? That's how I learned about the Makerspace thing. But Debbie wants to know, does anyone have parents that help maintaining the Makerspace, probably helping?
I still haven't started one, but that would be a lovely thing to have extra sets of hands when you're doing something like that, because sometimes the kids are learning and doing things and they have questions or need some input. So having another pair of hands would be a good thing.
Yeah, we have a big interest in, because we do a lot with film. Every school has to have, in our district, all the elementary schools feed into intermediate schools that have themes, and so we have to bridge that, and what we're doing is multimedia. So we're doing a lot of multimedia projects to feed, to get the kids practice, so then when they go on to this middle school, they're adept at it. And one of the things we have a lot of interest in is both building a sound booth and having a green screen in our makerspace so that kids can make films. We've been doing quite a few stop action films, which are actually super easy to do. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of animation chefs, but if you haven't, they're great to follow on Twitter. They have a YouTube channel, and they show you step by step everything you need to do to make a stop action film, and it's for all different ages. So they have a lot of different projects that they show you how to do, and that's a great thing. That's something we're definitely planning on doing in our makerspace. And along that line, although it's always great to have parents in, but I also think community members that have experience in these areas. If you've got, like, we've got people in our community that are into game design, and I plan on having them come in to talk to the kids when they're designing games in Scratch and other applications and websites, to give them ideas of some of the really good elements of game design. So I think not only parents but community members, basically anybody who can get in there. I can't hear you, Danessa. I think your mic is muted.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Sorry about that. Of course, my computer's trying to catch. Sorry. Using non-traditional for makerspaces, for pencils, wires, electric, outside computers and animation. That.
Yes, I think. Oh, try again. You were kind of lagging a minute ago.
Oh, okay. I think I'm now. Just using non-traditional items for makerspaces.
I think if you go to, I don't know if any of you participated in the Hour of Code, but of course coding is part of the maker movement. I mean, it's a small part. It's a kind of a comprehensive. But if you go to their website, they have a lot of paper pencil exercises you can do that support computational thinking. So I think that would be, one way that you could bring in a more traditional, tools to do some kind of making. Of course, you can always do art projects. That's making. You can use tools to build things, you know, hammers and nails and found objects in the trash and things like that can all be used to make things. And you know, that's great because that gets into where you're not spending hundreds of dollars on a 3D printer, but you're still able to expose kids to that experience.
How do you guys come up with the big question for them? Because as I've read, ask a question, and how do they form their own? Do they with each other? I'm just curious about that part, the lesson part.
Well, like I said, we haven't started ours yet, but when we did our 3D film, the first graders wrote their own script. So they came up with the idea, they wrote their own script, they created the characters out of Play-Doh. We showed them how to shoot it. We used an application called iStop-Motion, and we showed them how to shoot it. In other words, there were adults there saying, okay, hold the camera here, but they moved the figures, they pressed the button to shoot it. The only thing they really didn't do was edit it, you know, but outside of that, they did it. They basically did the whole thing, and you know, that's kind of what I prefer, is for the kids to come up with an idea of their own, because I think that that's more kind of a long genius hour, you know, ideas where you're, you know, where the child is doing something that they thought of that interests them. You get the most buy-in. I mean, certainly you could assign something, but it seems like it would be better to have them come up with an idea to make something that they are interested in. You could throw out a problem.
Right.
And then have everybody solve it in their own way.
Right, and I do Genius Hour, and I appreciate their coming up with their own ideas, and I love that for Makerspace. Just, I don't know, like, I guess I could just go along with whatever they want to create, I suppose, yeah? Since we're all kind of new.
If you did,
I think one of the things. Oh, sorry.
Okay. Still there?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm really new at this, and I teach first grade bilingual, and so, I mean, I'm just wondering, yeah, the 3D printers and things like that are way out of our league. So just to get them going on things, I mean, a lot of them don't read yet. I mean, it's just the idea is to make any sort of project then, or what is it?
I think one of the questions that you need to ask is what kind of subject you want it to kind of focus in on, or work along with, or be supportive of. And when you look at Common Core, I think that incorporates everything. But to kind of have that focus of, well, is this going to be, or to tie it back, it makes the principals happy to tie it back to something that's relevant. You know, like when we did coding, a lot of the stuff that we do in coding was all close reading, because they have to find the problem, so they're reading closely, right? But I think that the one question that you need to figure out first before you start trying to figure out what questions you're going to ask them is, what do you want it to support? And once you kind of get that idea going, then you can kind of brainstorm and see, all right, well, now what are the questions we should ask to support this idea? And for first grade, we had in our district, there was a first grade teacher. He did Legos with the kids, which required them to code the Legos. Legos were built. It was Lego robotics, and so that was the process. He was doing it with first graders. So and if you want to adapt, I don't know, that coding thing, there's a Codable. I'll put it in the chat. It's called Codable. It's an app. It's for kindergartners. So it goes from kindergarten to like second grade. So it just kind of gets them in the process, because a lot of the coding is more of the process. It's not so much, you know, ones and zeros, but more of like, if you tell a robot to turn left, it's going to turn left, but then it's going to hit a wall if you don't tell it to go up afterwards, kind of thing. So it's more of that process that they learn.
Yeah, Sam Tattoo wrote a blog on kindergartners coding, so they can absolutely do it. I'll find that and post it in chat and on Twitter too. Awesome. So we have 3 minutes, guys. What else in the makerspace? So I know, like I don't know. I guess since we're is anyone? So it seems like one of us doing makerspace now. Is the rest of us going to? I guess this coming year.
What would be kind of fun is if we all get our Twitter handles, and since a lot of us are starting it this year, if we kind of like stay in touch with each other through Twitter and talk about how we're progressing and the things we're learning, and have kind of a support group for each other, because all of us seem to be kind of in the same place.
Yeah, we should do a group thing and get our kids to do a Google out or something. That would be really amazing. I love it.
So I don't know.
Google Hangouts in our classroom and see how well that goes with the audio.
Yeah. I got it figured out, I think. Sorry about it. Thanks for being patient and queuing. Oh, that's awesome. Too many control on my Mac. I just, sorry. In class, it's much easier.
The biggest thing when you're doing them in classroom is to make sure that not everybody else is hogging the bandwidth at school. And they also do better when you start your computer fresh before you start and don't run anything else.
Yeah, I've done it at Google Hang with a friend of mine, Aisha, actually. It was pretty amazing. So yeah, bandwidth is important.
Also, I put in the chat, but I know not everybody can see the chat, the hashtag MakerEd, MakerEd. People throw out a lot of stuff for that.
I was wondering what the hashtag was to it, but yay! Hey, I'll add that right now. MakerEd.
Yep.
Perfect.
And you talked about Invent to Learn. Both Gary Stager and Sylvia Martinez are on Twitter.
Yes. No,
If you get to go to ISTE next year, the past 2 years they've done an Invent to Learn day before ISTE.
Oh, cool.
I saw that in some notes.
Since I can't see the comments, where you can store these notes and these sites that you're studying.
If you move your mouse to the left, the very top one should be like a text box where the chat is, and then be on Twitter.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Yay, okay, no problem. That's what I would have done at the beginning had I had. Any last? I definitely would love to get everyone back on Twitter or Google Hangout and see what happens when the new year starts. That'd be really fun.
So we should all put in our Twitter handles.
Yes.
So that we can tweet each other and get that set up.
All right, guys. Well, I thank you all for joining us. I know that 5:40 is supposed to be the cutoff. If anyone has any last comments or want to shout their Twitter handle, by all means. We need more people in our learning network, so by all means, shout it out.
Thanks, Danessa.
Thanks for being patient with me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. Enjoy.
And I'm putting all the resources out there. And enjoy the rest of your sessions.
If you guys put your Twitter handle in the chat, I'll get all the Twitter handles and put them into a Twitter list, and then you guys can subscribe to it. So it'll be a little easier.
Cool. Thank you.
Everyone too.
Anyone wants to know how to use that? Like mine went away for some reason. You can put it on the third. That's all on the left side in your toolbox. If you get it for future Google Hangouts too. Mine weird. Mm. There it is. There it is. Thank you guys very much. Enjoy the day. Hey.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice meeting all of you.
You guys as well.